Hey budget gardeners, Vita Loca here. Join me today as we sow some pansy seeds. So let's go. Pansies are funny. They can be considered an annual here where I live in New Hampshire Zone 5B, although they can also return for me year after year. And what I mean by that is they self-sow very readily, and once they self-sow, those seeds actually germinate in the late spring, early summer months. I have small plants that appear. Those plants overwinter, and then I end up with freebie plants in an area that I like to call my pansy holding bed. I've grown pansies from seed a number of times, and I swore to myself I will never do it again. And that's the beauty of gardening. We're allowed to change our minds, right? When it comes to growing annual flowers from seed, I often look at what's called the days to maturity. In other words, the date that I've sown the seed and then the date that the plant actually flowers for me. Typically, pansies have a days to maturity between 60 to 90 days, and that's about 2 to 3 months. You want to start your pansy seeds about 10 to 12 weeks before your average last frost date. My average last frost date based on my zip code is around May 15th. When you think about average last frost date, you're not looking at your USDA hardiness zone. You're looking at both your zip code as well as where you're geographically located. So if you're not sure what your average last frost date is, you want to check out the website below, enter in your zip code, and it will tell you that date. Or you can do an internet search, something like, what is my average last frost date? Put in your location, hit enter, and you should find that information that way as well. Now I love to winter sow, and I winter sow a ton of plants from seed. When it comes to pansies, I wouldn't recommend it, especially if you have a short growing season like I do. You normally can take a nice sizable pansy plant and put it outside when your temperatures are around 45 degrees Fahrenheit. The way I look at it is if I was to winter sow these seeds, I don't think I would have nice sizable plants that I could put outside during the early spring months. So it's my recommendation if you want to grow pansies from seed, you grow them indoors. Today is January 5th, and if we count backwards from May 15th to today, that's about 19 weeks. I am starting my pansy seeds a little bit earlier than I have in the past, but again, I want to try a few different things this year, and one of them is starting the seeds even earlier than I have in the past. When it comes to seed starting, I prefer to multi-sow my seeds, which means I like to sow a whole bunch of seeds in a small restaurant takeout container. And I do that for a number of reasons. One reason is it initially saves space under my grow lights. Another reason is only the seeds that are viable are going to germinate. In other words, if I sow a whole bunch of seeds in here and only some of them are viable, only those ones will germinate. Then what I can do is prick out the seeds that have germinated and pot them up. You don't have to multi-sow your seeds. If you prefer to sow them directly into 6 cell packs or into pots or containers, you can do that as well. But just know that that will take up more room under your grow lights, and also some of the seeds may not germinate, so you may have empty cells. But no matter what pot or container you use, you want to make sure that there are drainage holes in the bottom. I'll be sowing my seeds in a DIY seed starting mix. If you want, you can use any potting mix that you have handy. I like to start my seeds in seed starting mix, and then eventually when I pot up my seedlings, they move into a potting mix. For my seed starting mix, I like to use 2 parts of peat moss, but you can use cocoa coir if you like. And then I like to add 1 part of vermiculite. I have coarse vermiculite. You can use fine if you want. And then I sprinkle the top with pulverized dolomitic lime. And I use that with peat moss. You don't need to use it with cocoa coir. And the purpose of it is to reduce the acidity that you have in peat moss. When I talk about parts, it's basically whatever you're using for scooping. So in this case, I'm using a bowl. Parts are just ratios. So I could also do, for example, 4 parts or 4 bowls of my peat moss. And to that, I would add 2 parts of my vermiculite or 2 bowls of my vermiculite. And then I would sprinkle the top with my pulverized dolomitic limestone. After I've added all my ingredients, the next thing I like to do is add boiling water from a tea kettle and pour it over my seed starting mix. One reason for adding the water is simply to pre-moisten the mix. But a main reason for adding boiling water is to kill off the possibility of any fungus gnat eggs that might be found inside of the peat moss. I continue adding the boiling water. I want to make sure that the boiling water reaches all parts of the mix. And as I add the water, I just continue to mix the ingredients around. When I'm all done, I want to go ahead and tamp down the mix, and I'm using a spoon because I don't want to touch the mix with my hands. After that, I can put the cover on and let everything cool down before using the mix. When I squeeze the mix, I want to make sure that water is not dripping, because if it is, that means the mix is too wet. When I let go, the mix should hold its form. That's the perfect consistency for my seed starting mix to be added to my container pots. Next, let's go ahead and add the seed starting mix to our container. And then I want to press down lightly. And the reason we're doing that is so that we're eliminating any air pockets that might be in here. Here are the seeds that we'll be sowing. This is Celestial Blue. I actually bought the seeds from Baker Creek a number of years ago, and ever since then I've just been collecting my own seeds. And then this one here is just a generic mix of lots of different colors, yellows, purples, and blues. I'll put a link to a video down below as well as up above that shows you my process on how I collected these pansy seeds. But you can definitely buy your own pansy seeds, and what I'll also do is put a link down below in the description of a few great websites that sell pansy seeds that you can look into. In the tray, I put a divider here, and all that is a plastic knife. I just cut it a little bit so it fits in here. That way I can sow the seeds of 2 different varieties of pansies. Now, I would not want to sow pansies on one side and a different flower on this side. I would prefer to keep the same crop in the same container. And the reason is I know that these seeds will germinate around the same time. I created a couple of labels so that I know which side has which variety of pansies. I like to use a garden marker when I mark my labels because it doesn't wash off as easily as something like, let's say, a Sharpie. So let's go ahead and put our name tags or labels in. It's really up to you how many seeds you want to sow. I collected these seeds a few years ago, so I'm guessing not all the seeds will be viable. In other words, I don't think they all will germinate because, for example, these seeds here were collected in 2023 and we're sowing these in 2026. That means the seeds are 3 years old. And just like any seed, over time, seeds lose their viability. But that's just a close-up of what the pansy seeds look like, and there are a ton of seeds there. So I am going to be not worrying about spacing these out. I am sprinkling them very liberally, and what will end up happening is as we start seeing germination, and especially once we have the first set of true leaves appearing, at that point I'll start pricking them out. And sometimes I even prick them out before they have their first set of true leaves. It just depends on my time. And again, I'm putting a lot of seeds in here because I'm guessing that most of these will not germinate. Some of them will, but not all of them. But you never know, right? And we still have some seeds left. In fact, I often like to make sure that after I've sown some seeds, just in case something happens, something on my part, and the seeds don't germinate, let's say they dried out or they got too much heat, at that point, I can always sow seeds again. I still have plenty of time to do that as backup insurance. And we're definitely not sowing all of these seeds. I try to remind myself the easiest part of seed starting is sowing the seeds. Everything after that is a little bit harder. So it's important to remind ourselves of that yes, these are a ton of seeds here, but each of these, as they germinate, will be a plant. And each of these plants I will have to baby and take care of for many months. So I need to keep reminding myself of that as I sow my seeds. And like I mentioned earlier, it's easier said than done. It's so easy to just get all these seeds planted. But then what, right? And I'm looking forward to bringing you along in the process as these seeds start to germinate. I'm going to stop there. Even though there's a few left, I really don't need any more. And that's just a close-up of what it looks like now that we've sown all of those pansy seeds. Now the question is how deep to sow these seeds. I've seen conflicting information. Some sites say that the seeds germinate fine if they're surface sown. Other sites say that the seeds need darkness to germinate. I can tell you from my experience that these plants outside drop their seeds and they germinate just fine, which tells me they're not covered, they get light, and they germinate just fine. However, I also have experienced covering them with about 1/8 of potting mix or seed starting mix, a very, very fine amount, and the seeds also germinate. So I think the rule of thumb here that I want to share with you is if you are going to cover them, just barely cover them. You don't want them buried too deep. Or you can just keep them just like this and cover them with something like vermiculite. And that's what we're going to be doing today, is putting a fine vermiculite layer just barely on the top of the seeds and then pressing the seeds in so that the seeds make good contact with the seed starting mix. In previous years, I did not put vermiculite when I did seed starting, but there are some pros to putting vermiculite on top of the seed starting or potting mix when you're doing indoor seed starting. One advantage of using vermiculite on top of your seed starting that you're doing is that it helps retain moisture. And I think that's especially important for any seed that does require light to germinate, because you don't want those seeds to dry out as they're waiting to germinate. Another advantage of using vermiculite, as we're doing here, is it prevents all sorts of fungal disease, such as damping off. And then finally, it does allow light to penetrate or come through. And that is important because we are surface sowing the seeds here. If you do put a light layer of potting mix or seed starting mix on top of your pansy seeds, then adding this layer of vermiculite is also optional, but I do recommend it if you are new to seed starting and you want to make sure you get a good germination rate. And now I'm just going to press down. I want to make sure that those pansy seeds make good contact with the seed starting mix. The one thing that I don't like about the fine vermiculite is as soon as the seeds start to germinate and you have seedlings here, it's a little bit harder to see them because of this shiny layer of vermiculite. I know that's a silly thing to say, but that's just how I feel about it. Whereas when I don't use the vermiculite, I like the fact that I can see my little green seedlings very easily. But it's really not a big deal. I've found in previous videos that I've made that especially seeds that need to be surface sown, that's where a lot of our gardening friends have a hard time, because if those seeds dry out, it causes issues. But if you're very good about checking and watering the seeds as you're waiting for them to germinate, it's a non-issue. But I think it's a good practice to add vermiculite on top of your, when you're sowing seeds, just as insurance. I like to use this small hand pump water sprayer just to add a nice mist of water on top of the seeds. Our seed starting mix was pre-moistened, but it's still a good idea to water the top. So you can see I'm very gently misting everything. And I'm misting it a nice amount, just like that. Next, you want to cover your tray or your 6-cell pack with something that's clear that acts as a humidity dome. In this case, I have a cover that goes on top of my restaurant takeout container, but you could also use something like clear plastic wrap. I've done that in the past and that works out well also. And this humidity dome will basically allow light to come in, and it will also help retain the moisture, which is very important. And now I'm going to take the seeds that are inside of this tray and I'm going to place them underneath my grow lights, which are currently turned off. Once I have fair germination, and what I mean by that is about 50% or so of my seeds have germinated, at that point I'll be removing the humidity dome. When you have seeds that germinate and you leave that humidity dome on for too long, what can actually happen is you can introduce fungal issue and kill off your seedlings. Also, you'll notice that I did not put my pansy seeds on a seedling heat mat. And the reason is the pansy seeds actually like a cool soil temperature, somewhere around 62 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. My house is somewhere in that temperature range during the day as well as the night. So for that reason, I feel comfortable not putting these seeds on a seedling heat mat. Once I see very good germination and I've removed the humidity dome, at that point I like to turn on my LED shop lights. My LED shop lights are set up on a timer. They're on for 16 hours a day. They come on at 5 a.m., they go off at 9 p.m. With any seed that you start indoors, can you put them under lights that are on from day one? Absolutely. It doesn't hurt the seedlings at all. The key is, as soon as you do see those seeds starting to germinate, they are looking for that light. So it's important to be monitoring, and once you see seedlings emerging, turn those lights right on. I like to keep my lights about 2 inches above the seedlings. That ensures that I don't have leggy seedlings. If the lights are too high, the seedlings are going to stretch for the light, and that's what causes them to be leggy. If the lights are way too low, there's actually a chance, especially if you're using something like fluorescent bulbs that are warmer, that you might burn those seedlings. So it's important to know what kind of lights you have, and you can always research how far you should keep those lights from your seedlings. Once those seedlings emerge, I like to bottom water them. And I bottom water them where the soil is wet, but then in between waterings, I let the soil dry out a little bit. Once my seedlings have what are called their first set of true leaves, at that point I'll start fertilizing them. and I'll fertilize them about once a week using Miracle-Gro, and I'll be diluting it so it's about 50% the strength that's indicated on the package. I like to stay a little organized when it comes to starting my seeds indoors. I have a Google spreadsheet where I keep track of all of this. So I'll be putting down the date that I started these seeds, and I do that for all the seeds that I start. Then I evaluate it later in the season. If I need to adjust any dates, I can do that accordingly. And remember, when it comes to sowing seeds indoors, try to just sow what you can use in your own yard. Trust me when I say, I every year say that to myself, and then I end up sowing more seeds than I need. But I really try hard to limit it as much as I can. So as you watch my videos as well as other people's videos, get all that information that you need, but then think carefully about, can you use these plants in your own landscape? And if so, how many plants can you use? I have a lot of videos on my channel that talk all about my process when it comes to seed starting, my indoor grow light system, how I keep track of all the seeds that I'm starting, a lot of videos like that. So if you're interested in those, definitely check out my playlist. I'll put a link to it down below as well as up above. I'm planning to make future videos where I'll show you my process for pricking out the seedlings, potting them up, bottom watering them, giving them fertilizer, and eventually hardening them off and getting them out in my landscape. So be on the lookout for those videos. And let me know, are you growing pansies from seed? And if so, what's your favorite variety that you've seen out there? Drop it down in the comment section below. And until the next video, make it a great day with gardening.